Now, I promised you we'd talk about boys singing. I remember singing at school. I still sing, as you know. I'm in a choir. I'm always singing around the house, singing as I'm wandering about. But if you're a man and your last memory of singing was when you're in short trousers, come on, it's time you became part of the Hull Project Singing City. I'm sure I don't think you'll have to live in Hull to be part of this. Sure, you can come across from Grimsby, Scunthorpe, come down from Bridlington, wherever you are. It's an initiative to encourage more men to take part in community singing. Currently, just 10% are involved in choirs locally. There's a one-off workshop in a couple of weeks on the 25th of November entitled Singing for Blokes, Chaps and Other Men, which is led by one of the Spooky Men's Chorale. Dominic Stichbury is joining us on this one this morning. Morning, Dominic.
Hi, Amanda.
Now, what was it I watched on YouTube yesterday? You were doing an ABBA tune, the Spooky Men's Chorale. It was funny.
Quite possibly, yeah. We do a few funny covers in the Spooky Men's Chorale, which can be quite a laugh. It's true.
It is. I just thought it was really fun. What is the Spooky Men's Chorale then? What's it all about?
The Spooky Men's Chorale is an Australian choir that has been coming to the UK for over a decade now, every 2 years, and doing a big tour of the UK. And as part of their activities here, they picked up some UK singers to be part of their group. So I'm one of the recent members who's joined the Spooky Men's Chorale. And this summer we had a month tour in the UK, and then we went to Denmark as well. So we're actually not genuine Australians, but we make up part of this Australian group.
I sing in a choir, and it's quite a traditional choir, really, and I love it when the men sort of come thundering underneath with something magnificent. But I have to say, the men, or the tenors perhaps, but the men on the whole don't often get the jam, do they, in the choir buffet? But it sounds like what you're doing, it'll be all jam.
Well, I think that is one of the issues. It's a really interesting topic, this whole thing, is why men don't turn up to a lot of group singing. But I think that there is certainly something about the function that men often play in core, more
the
formal
kind of
core music
dum.
and other things.
Yeah.
Exactly. And even in some pop arrangements as well. And I think that, it'd be lovely for, men to have more of an opportunity just to be able to sing a lovely melody rather than kind of be stuck on a bass line. Although there is still a satisfaction sometimes through providing that function.
I agree. I always do say, though, that us sopranos get the tune because we can be trusted with it. I think if I was like the dum 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 dum, I would. It's kind of, and it's hard to find your way when you haven't just got a melody and words. The bits where I have to do the ooey-oos, I always get lost. I think it makes it harder for men.
I think that's a really good point, and I think that one of the things that this workshop is that you mentioned about, and a lot of other singing experiences that are popping up in the UK for men, is that if you're a man who hasn't sung, like you said, since you're wearing short trousers at school, and to come back into singing, and this is the same for men and women, you need to have an opportunity that feels safe, that feels welcoming, inclusive, because it can be really scary. So if you turn up to a choir and suddenly you're doing quite a complex bass line, you're not quite sure where you are, you haven't really found your voice for a couple of decades, and that can be difficult. So there are opportunities to sing, and this is one of them, this workshop, to sort of gently bring people into this world. But if you're an established singer, it will still provide some challenge.
It does. I'm quite jealous. I can't come along, really. Now, my husband sings a lot more now than when we first met, because he's got a lovely voice, but it's always ever so close to the note. It's often quite, but I don't think that's a reason not to sing, Dominic.
I totally agree with you. And I'm, a lot of the work I do is under the banner of the Natural Voice Network, which I'm a member of. And this is a grassroots organisation that's been growing up considerably over the last decade. And it promotes singing, sort of the ethos that everyone can sing. Come along and have a go. And I think the reason that people don't often turn up is because of their own ideas about what it means to be able to sing or not sing. And I think you're right. I think that actually the majority of us can, turn up and be part of a large group that can smooth out a few, things. If you're not so confident, it doesn't matter. You can be part of this larger group.
Is there something so thrilling about being part of a group of people singing, though, isn't it? So moving.
Yeah, and I think that it's quite rare. I think in our culture, we don't in England. We sing if you still go to church, or if you do, you often still sing in unison. But we don't really have a culture now where people come together and do something all at the same time. So and I think that there's something, like you say, I think thrilling is the word. If you have 50 people in a room, and even if you just all make a noise together, that that's something quite special there, and that's what you experience every week if you come to a choir. So it's trying to reduce those barriers, those sort of break down the ideas in people's heads, and men in particular, that this is something they can't do or shouldn't try.
And I think they probably get put off, because I dare say a lot of the time when men who haven't sung for a long time end up in a place where they might sing, if they're not regular churchgoers, it's a wedding or a christening or heaven help us, a funeral where the singing is turgid. I just want someone to kill me now, just because there's the people are a bit shy and don't want to sing up. I'm like, sing, for goodness sake, sing.
Totally, and actually that's a really good point you raised, because a lot of hymns are often still in the original keys, where the top part of the tune that we sing would have been sung by a boy treble. So often it's quite high for men and women to find that part. So a hymn, singing in church, isn't really necessarily the right place to find your voice either, although it can be. So it's sort of, we maybe need a bit of cajoling. We need a space. We need an opportunity where there's a bit more care being taken to bring someone into singing.
And this is what's happening in Hull, 10 till 4:30 on the 25th of November at the Albemarle Music Centre, which is a fab spot. What can people who come along expect? And do you just turn up?
I think that it would be a good idea to book a place in advance. I'm not sure what the numbers are looking like now, but when I last looked, they were on the rise. And I have to say that Claire Drury at Hull City Council has been doing a great job of administering this. So I'm just looking at the poster now. There is a phone number here that you can call, which I could quote in a moment. But if people come along, it's free to come as well. If people come along, we're going to have, it's going to be a completely non-scary experience, or at least that's what I'm going to try and make it, so that men will come into the room, and we will just gently begin. And I've been doing this for quite a while now. I've got lots of songs that feel good to sing, and I know that people would enjoy, and that there's a place that if people can find their voice in one part or another. So you don't need to worry about where your voice is, whether it's high or low. We'll be able to find a place for your voice to fit. So is it okay if I quote the telephone number?
It's 300 300, isn't it? Just the normal City Council number.
That's it, exactly, yeah.
And ask for the arts development team there, and they'll book you in. And it costs you nothing. Who are you hoping is going to come along?
Oh, well, I mean, I know that we've got some guys coming along who are already part of the singing scene in Hull, who are already singing in the Community Choir Network, which is brilliant. Really great to see those. And particularly, I'd like to encourage men who maybe haven't sung in a while, who are sort of thinking, could I do this? Couldn't I do this? Just come along and see what it's like. It's guaranteed to be fun. It's guaranteed to be lighthearted. And, I'm sure they will get something of it. So it's those men on the margin.
What have you got to lose, eh? What have you got to lose by going, Dominic? Absolutely nothing. Well, I'm excited. I'm really excited. If you're out there, you're a man, you haven't sung in years, go on, have a go. You can hear the joy in my voice talking about it, and in Dominic's. Well, don't you want to know what it's all about? You don't have to be Pavarotti or Michael Bublé, do you, Dominic?
Absolutely not. I'm certainly not either of those.
Well, I'm sure you... But maybe you could be. If you come along on Saturday, you might unearth the next big thing.
Exactly.
It's been a joy, Dominic. Thank you. I'm always happy to talk about singing on the programme.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Well, good luck with your choir too.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, we keep turning up and we keep knocking out the crowd pleasers. It's always good fun. Thank you. There we are. Dominic Stichbury, who's part of the Singing for Blokes, Chaps and Other Men. It's happening at the Albemarle Music Centre, which is on Hull's Ferrens Way, between 10 and 4:30 on Saturday the 25th of November. And if you want to take part, get in touch via Hull City Council, 300 300, the main number, and ask for the Arts Development Team. And I just think it'd be an absolute ball.
Westenders. The biggest show tunes on the radio. Every Sunday night on BBC Radio Humberside with Jonathan Parker and Chloe Davies.
That's what you've got for the next 2 hours, us. But really, it's about you and your musical theatre requests.
It's a very simple concept, you see.
Give your Sunday a little showbiz sparkle. Westenders. Sunday nights from 6 on BBC Radio Humberside.
Across Northern Lincolnshire and East Yorkshire.
This is BBC Radio Humberside.